It is time to deal with the final boss here. There's going to be two different enemies we have to deal with. First up is Genichiro. We've battled him before. This is going to be a test of deflection. He has very low posture, so it's not hard to break it at all. So deflect his attacks. At the beginning here, if you just run behind him and do a double Ichimonji, which is a great skill, hopefully you have that, you can interrupt it. Now at this point, he's going to do some unblockables. There's a thrust there. He usually will do that after jumping up in the air and firing arrows at you, which you can deflect, and then you can Makiri counter that thrust. He'll also do a sweep, which you can jump over, but otherwise just deflect all of his attacks, and it's not very long before he goes down. Now we get to deal with Sword Saint Isshin. Now this guy's really tough. At the very beginning, I just kind of charge at him. Now, he sheaths his sword occasionally. You'll see the little white light on his hip. When he does that, you have two options. One, to either back away and get ready to evade his attack, or just run towards him and he'll do two quick little charges at you, which you can also evade. But I stay close. I do a Makiri counter when they pop up, but I'm just going to deflect as many of these attacks as I can to get to his second form. He has 3 health bars. After this first one, he'll go into a second form. Usually, sometimes you can bypass it, but just deflect. He's sheathing his sword, so I run towards him and then dodge twice and get back on him, deflect, Makiri counter, and we're going to go in the second form here. Now his second form, he's going to take out a big giant spear. He will hit you with his sword and very quick attacks. He will then do longer swooping spear attacks, and he's very deadly. He will also charge up a shockwave attacks, which you can interrupt, by the way, with the firecrackers. And it's a very, very high skill required to do deflections on him. You can build up his posture pretty quickly if you can deflect all those attacks. Now, once you get to his final health bar, it gets even more tricky because he's going to introduce lightning and shock attacks. Which, by the way, if he does the shock attacks, if you jump up into the lightning, you can do a lightning counter by tapping R1 before you hit the ground, provided you jump up into the lightning and then you R1 pretty quickly before you hit the ground. However, all of that is, and it requires an insane amount of skill. He's very, very tough, and after a few hours of just getting close, but not quite close enough, I decided, well, let's kind of cheese this. Let's bait him into jumping at me, go in for a single hit, and then just kind of run around and repeat that over and over, and we're gonna do a death by 1,000 stabs. So as you can see, I'm basically staying at range. Now I don't want to be too far away from him, and I also don't want to be too close, because if you get too close, he'll mess you up real quick. So I'm just kind of taking my time here, and he will either usually shoot at you or leap towards you. And I'm waiting for him to leap towards me, at which point I'm going to kind of run behind him and hit him once and then get the heck out of there. You want to be very careful that you don't get stuck in a rock or a tree. And more importantly, you want to make sure you don't fall off. So I'm trying to take tight circles around this area so I don't fall off accidentally. Yes, that might have happened to me maybe more than once. Maybe 3 times. Now, as you play through this and as you do this, you kind of start to feel when he's going to do his leap. Again, he'll generally either shoot at you, which if you're running, he probably won't hit you, most likely won't hit you, or he'll leap at you. But when he leaps at you, it looks like he's jumping over me, but in reality he's not. He's leaping to a spot where I was standing. So what I'm doing is kind of running towards him a little bit, anticipating his leap, so it looks like he's jumping over me. So I want to be about this distance from him. So there's his gunfire. He will usually alternate gunfire and leap. So now I'm going to kind of anticipate this jump forward, and I'm actually kind of running towards him. I'm running around but closer to him, anticipating that leap is coming. It's very important to kind of understand when he's about to leap so you can be in the right position to hit him. If you're not in the right position when he does his leap, don't force it. Just wait until the next one. So yeah, it's a cheese method, no question. It's definitely a cheese, but it is far easier than dealing with his massive attack, his library of attacks, his quick swings of the sword, his his spear attacks, which can be tough to deflect because you're so used to deflecting quick, but with the spear you gotta kind of slow down your brain a little bit. So he did a leap there and I wasn't in the right position. When he leaps forward, you do gotta hit him real quick because he starts following it up with other attacks. But with 10 healing items and pellets and hopefully you have more than one revive. If you got to use a revive on this phase and then a second one on this final phase, having that second revive is definitely going to be helpful for you. Leap forward, stab. We'll eventually get this. It gets a little bit more difficult in the final phase because he will start doing other ranged attacks as well. A shockwave attack that kind of comes out in a straight line. He has 2 shockwave attacks. One that's more centered around him is an AoE, and then the more ranged attack, which is a line of shockwave coming at you. But it's not hard to avoid those as long as you're still running. But he does mix it in with his lightning attacks when you get close. If you can actually jump into that and then do a lightning counter, that is the best way to take off his health. But it definitely gets a little bit more tricky in the final phase. Here, he just keeps running. So yeah, it's cheating, but you'll get the hang of it. You got to be. The key is to kind of be running towards him as he's leaping towards you, and you will start to be able to anticipate when he's doing that. So that's about the right distance right there that you want to stay away from him. Outside of his range, outside of the range of his other attacks that are centered on him, like that one right there, but not too far away where he's got to sprint towards you. And of course, be very mindful of these rocks and the cliffs. The cliffs falling isn't going to kill you, but it'll remove, you know, maybe half of your health, and if you're low health, that'll just ultimately mean death. There he is. You can see I was kind of, again, circling around a bit closer to him, anticipating that leap was about to come. So it looks like we have just one more we got to deal with. Sometimes slow and steady wins the race. Now, there are people I've seen who kind of get hit, do his first form, and then he doesn't immediately change into a second form, and they've actually gotten to this third phase before he takes out the spear. And I've actually seen some videos of people actually completely removing all of his health without him ever changing into the second form. However, you cannot get that final kill until he gets into the spear form here. So as you can see, it starts to get he gets a little bit more aggressive. I don't know, I went in with 2 swipes there. You don't want to really do that. You don't want to take that chance. Just go in for just 1 hit and then back away. It wouldn't also hurt to build up your attack a little bit if you've completed the Dragon Mask. Gotten the 3 fragments, and then for every 5 skill points that you get, you can purchase an attack skill. It would make this a little quicker if you're doing a little bit more damage to him when you go in for that single hit. This is definitely the most challenging fight in the game, and yes, we were cheesing it a little bit, but it's still going to be a little tricky, a little difficult. Still have to beat Genichiro, and then of course his first phase, the Saint Ishin's first phase. You can see there's his shockwave attack coming at you, but as long as you're sprinting, again, you shouldn't worry about it. I thought that was going to be a leap there, but again, it can be the leap or the gun. He usually kind of alternates between the two, not always. I let him get a little too close to me there. But use those healing gourds if you got them. You don't get extra bonus points if you have any healing left in your inventory at the end of this. The worst part about the gun is if you do get hit by it, it stuns you, so he not only shoots you and does damage to you, but he starts to close in on you and can hit you with melee attacks, so be very, very careful of that. You want to avoid getting hit if all possible. You can deflect and block the bullets. So there was his lightning attack. If I had, instead of running away from, just decided to jump into the lightning and then did a lightning counter, could have sped this thing up quite a bit, but I don't want to take that chance, because if he's not doing that, maybe he's doing a thrust or a sweep or something. Usually it's a lightning attack. The lightning attack can be centered around him as a big AoE around him in a circle. Sometimes it's a kind of a beam that's shot out at you. It's kind of tricky to anticipate which of his moves he's going to do, because he has so many moves. What's what makes this fight very difficult? If you're going to go in and try to block his sword attacks, his spear attacks, avoid his charged up attacks, which if you see coming you can just sprint out or interrupt them again with the firecrackers. Got stuck by a rock there and he ended up shooting me. Thankfully I don't fall off, that would be quite embarrassing. There's the leap, hit him once, back away. Try to stay within the proper distance. He's charging up some sort of AoE attack there. I'm just standing back here because I want to make sure that if I loop around him I don't fall off the edge. That's why I was standing a little further away from him. Circling, getting closer as I'm anticipating that leap's about to come. Of course it does. Be careful when you are healing, using your gourds. Make sure you're far enough away. But thankfully using this method, he's not the hardest boss to defeat. That would of course still be the Demon of Hatred. If you defeated him and did the straight up legit kind of stand toe to toe with him like you're probably supposed to, this would be by far the hardest, most difficult fight in the game. Come on, guy, here you come. Gonna jump in? Nope, not with the gun. He has so many attacks. This guy probably has more different attacks, twice as many attacks than any other boss in the game. And it's really hard to just anticipate which one is coming and reacting the proper way. Yeah, which is why I'm cheesing it. There's the gun. It could have been a leap. Next one should be a leap. Oh, he came in with a lightning slam there. Again, once you've done this a few times, you kind of start to anticipate when that leap is coming. That way you can get in the right position to hit him. If you're not in the right position, just let him go. Just keep running away. Don't take any chances. Also, it's best to go counterclockwise around him. It's easier to avoid. When he does the leap, he comes with the spear attack simultaneously, and it's easiest to avoid it if you're coming around to his right side. Or your right side, that would be his left. So just kind of go, I find going counterclockwise to be the best way to avoid that. Going around the other way, it's a little bit harder. I get hit more often. Not impossible. Shooting the shockwave out. There's the gun. Next one should be a leap. I feel like it's going to come right here. Again, once you've done this enough, you kind of know when it's going to come ahead of time. He might hit me with the gun next time. Oh, he didn't. He did another leap. So it doesn't always alternate. Just be prepared either way. As long as you're moving, you will not get hit by the gun. I really think the most difficult part of this is avoiding running into a tree or a rock and falling off. I swear. It's like maybe one more should do it. We'll see. Not the fastest way to get a kill, but it is definitely the safest way to get a kill. There it is. You will get the Sword Saint Isshin trophy. You will then be able to proceed to whichever ending you have lined yourself up with. And I want to thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. Make sure before you go into New Game Plus that you get all 6 of the lapis lazuli or whatever they're called. There's 6 of them in each playthrough. Make sure you grab all 6 of those before you move into the next playthrough, because you'll need 12 of them total across 2 playthroughs to do all of your upgrades of your prosthetics. So that, and make sure you get all your prayer beads, everything that you need before you move over to New Game Plus. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe.